Hi guys, welcome to lesson 14.5, fractions as a whole or set. Our objectives for this lesson, that means the things that we want to be able to do by the end of the lesson. We want to be able to read, write, and identify fractions of a set, find the number of items in a fraction of a set, express whole numbers as fractions, and recognize fractions that are equal to whole numbers. So first let's look at our little picture right here. And it says there are 4 apples, which we can clearly see, right? 3 out of 4 of them are red. So what fraction of the apples are red? Well, we know it's 1, 2, 3 out of a total of 4. So 3/4 of the apples are red. Okay, so now let's look at these lovely flowers down here at the bottom. It says there are 10 flowers. We can always double check that to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are definitely 10 flowers. So number 1 is asking us what fraction of the flowers are red. To me they look more of a beautiful pink color, but we'll go with red. And it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the flowers are pinkish red. So that means our fraction would be 5 out of a total of 10, right? So we would write that as 5/10. And what else do we know about 5 and 10, guys? We know that 5 and 10 can both be divided by 5, right? So we know that 5/10 is actually the same thing as 1/2, right? So if we were to divide this fraction down into its simplest form, it would be 1/2 because we know that 5 out of a total of 10 would be exactly half, right? So 1/2 of the flowers are red. Well, pinkish red. Number 2, what fraction of the flowers are purple? So we can see that there are 2 flowers that are purple out of a total of 10, right? So that would be 2/10. And what do you notice about both of these numbers? Is 2/10 the smallest that we can possibly go? Or is there a number that we could divide into both of them to get this into its simplest form? I think we can divide by 2, right? They're both even numbers. So we know that we can divide 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. So that means that not only are 2/10 of the flowers purple, but that's also 1/5 of the flowers that's purple, that are purple. Number 3, what fraction of the flowers are yellow? Well, we can see that there are 3 flowers out of a total of 10 flowers, so 3/10 is our fraction of yellow flowers. Is there any number that we could divide into 3 and 10? Nope, looks like 3/10 is going to just stay 3/10. That is that fraction in its simplest form. All right, number 4, what fraction of the flowers are not red? Now, I already know that 1/2 of the flowers are red. So that tells me right there that 5/10 or 1/2 of the flowers are not red. Let's just double check and make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the flowers are not red. So it's 5/10, just like up here. Or we could write it as 1/2, since it's the same thing. Okay, so now we're going to find the fraction of a part of objects. So now we have a set of 12 apples, and they've been divided into 4 equal groups. And it looks like 3 out of 4 of those groups are red. So let's look back at our apples on the first page. Remember we had 1, 2, 3 apples out of a total of 4, and so we had 3/4 that were red. So looking at the apples on this page, we still have 4 total groups. Can you see how they've been divided? So we've got this first group, that's one group, 2, 3, and 4. So we still have 4 total groups, and it looks like 3 out of 4 of them are red. So we still have the same fraction, 3/4, because we've got 3 groups that are red out of a total of 4 groups. So now, how many total apples do we have? Well, we know we could count by 3. 3, 6, 9, 12. So we know that our total is 12 apples, and when we divide those apples into 4 equal groups, 3 out of 4 of those groups are red. So that means that 3/4 of 12 is red in this case. And to go a little further, how many of those apples are red? Well, we know it's 3, 6, 9. So that means that 9 is 3/4 of the number 12. Does that make sense? It might be a little tricky at first, but you'll get it. Okay, let's look at our cute little rubber duckies down here. We've got some yellow rubber duckies and some purple rubber duckies. It looks like we have a total, let's find out our total first, yeah. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 total rubber duckies. And we can see by those little lines that our rubber duckies have been split into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 equal groups. So we know right here we can write 5 because the set of ducks is divided into 5 equal groups. And now it's asking us number 6, what fraction of the ducks are yellow? So if we just look at the number of groups, 1, 2. So we've got 2 groups out of a total of 5. So that means that 2/5 of the ducks are yellow. What fraction of the ducks are purple? So that looks like 1, 2, 3 groups out of a total of 5. So 3/5 is purple. So what we just did was we found the fraction of a set that was 2/5 and 3/5. Now, if we look at how many actual ducks we have, we know that there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 ducks, right? And that 4 of them are yellow and 6 of them are purple. So that means that 4/10 is the same as 2/5. Does that make sense, guys? So 4 out of 10 is the same as 2/5. We could do that by dividing, right? We could divide 4/10 by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So this is really just another way to look at fractions. So this time we have a set of things and we can tell how many of them are a certain color. So if we were to look at the purple ones, we know that there are 6 out of 10 that are purple, and that would be the same as 3/5 because we know 6 divided by 2 is 3 and 10 divided by 2 is 5. So the only difference this time is that the ducks have been divided into groups of 2. Okay, now let's explore some different ways that whole numbers can be written as fractions. So in the first example, it says the number 1 is the same as 1/1. And that's just because 1 divided by 1 is, of course, 1. So anytime we take a whole number and we put a 1 underneath it as a fraction, then it's kind of like saying that number divided by 1. So let's look at another example here. So 3 is the same as 3 divided by 1. That really is saying how many times can this 1 on the bottom go into 3? And the answer is, of course, 3 times. So 3 over 1 is just 3. 4 would be the same as 4 over 1, which is really kind of like saying 4 divided by 1, which is 4. So for the number 5, we would say 5 divided by, or over, 1. And 5 divided by 1 is 5. So anytime you see a fraction that has a 1 on the bottom as the denominator, you know that that's really just a whole number in disguise. So you can just know that anytime you see that, it's going to be that whole number that's on the top. So 5 equals 5 over 1. Okay? We can also write the number 1 as 2 out of 2, because 2 divided by 2 is 1. And we can actually do that with any number. If you ever see a number that is the same, the numerator and the denominator are the same, then that would just equal 1, or the whole thing. Because what it really means is, say we're talking about the number 6, and say we have 6 out of a total of 6. That just means we have the whole thing, right? So 6 out of 6, or 6 divided by 6, is 1. So anytime you see a fraction that has the same numerator and denominator, that means it's just the whole thing, or 1. Okay, so number 3 says write another fraction for 1, and we just kind of did that over on the side, but this works with any number, so let's do another one. We could do the number 9. We could do 9 out of 9, and that's really like saying 9 divided by 9, and the answer is 1. Okay, the next part says, what do you notice about the fractions 4 over 2, 8 over 4, and 6 over 3? Do you notice something, guys? Well, it looks like on all 3 of these fractions, that bottom number is exactly half of the top number. So, when we look at a fraction that has a smaller number on the bottom, the way we could read it is 4 divided by 2. And we know that 4 divided by 2 is 2. We can do the same thing with this one. 8 divided by 4 is 2. And 6, whoa, that was a weird noise, divided by 3 is 2. So all of these fractions are all equal to 2. And it says write another fraction for 2. So all we need to do is think of a number and then double it. And then that number, the double, is going to be on the top, and the original number we thought of will be on the bottom. So let's try the number 5 as our denominator. So if I have the denominator of 5, that means double 5 would be 10. So what that's really saying is 10 divided by 5 is 2. Okay, so anytime you see a fraction that has a bigger numerator than the denominator, you can see if you are able to divide, just like here in this case, or with any of these ones, or in the case of our 1 being our denominator as well. Okay, number 5 says write 2 fractions to show each of these numbers. Well, I know that all I need to do is write a number on top that can divide by a number on the bottom where I would get the answer of 5. So the first thing that I thought of was 25 divided by 5. So I'm going to write my 25 on top as my numerator, and then I'm going to write my 5 on the bottom. And we know 25 divided by 5 is 5. And then the second one that I thought of was 50 divided by 10, because I know that 10 goes into 50 5 times. So this is really saying 50 divided by 10, and my answer is 5. Okay, and we can do the same thing with the number 6. So I know that 6 times 6 is 36. So what I'm going to do is start by putting my 36 on top and then putting my 6 on the bottom. So 36 divided by 6 is 6. And then I'm going to do the same thing I did over here, but this time I'm going to do 60 over 10, or divided by 10. So 60 divided by 10 is 6, because 10 goes into 60 6 times. Okay, so let's look at the bottom part. What numbers are shown by these fractions? So notice all of them have a smaller number as the denominator, so we know we can just divide. And this one has the same number on the top and the bottom, so we know what to do with that guy. All right, so number 7 is really the same as saying 7 divided by 1. So 7 divided by 1 means how many times can 1 go into 7? So of course, it's going to be 7, just like we saw up here. Any number, or any fraction I should say, that has a 1 on the bottom is going to be whatever number is on the top. Number 8 says 10 over 2, which is really the same as saying 10 divided by 2. And we know that 10 divided by 2 is 5. Number 9 has 21 over 7. So we know that 21 divided by 7 is 3, because 7 times 3 is 21. Remember our 7 song, guys? 7, 14, 21. You can keep singing if you want. Show it off for mom and dad. Okay, number 10. 111 divided by 111 is, of course, 1. Okay, guys, that's it for our lesson today, and I'll see you tomorrow.